First of all, my name is Chanel
Morning.
Brandon, and I am the Vice President of Healthy Living with a Vision Foundation. And welcome to our third annual 28-day plant-based Kickstart. So before we do anything, just give yourselves a hand. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for coming back and
All
being with us.
right.
We sure do appreciate it. You're in for a treat. Your presence, your questions, and your engagement has helped make this so meaningful and energizing experience for our entire community. And this year, we're going to have a new focus and fresh content. Love your heart, live your best. That is going to be our theme. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death in the United States, often developing quietly through the years before it's really even discovered. The encouraging news is that, supported by decades of research, is that the lifestyle is choices that we make, so they matter. So, what you eat, how we move, how we manage our stress, how well we sleep, and whether we feel socially and spiritually connected all play powerful roles in protecting our heart health. Our third annual 28-day kickstart to plant based eating will build on what you already know while introducing you to new heart focused topics, updates on science, and practical strategies you can use right away, or just as important, it's a chance to reconnect with a supportive community, which all of you are. And right now, I think we're at 121 people that are interested in changing their lifestyle, and a chance to reconnect with those people and committing to living a well life. One step at what time, Dr. Thompson? One step at a, he
Time.
didn't catch it, at a time. All right. So that's Dr. Thompson.
I was
He's our
on mute.
Oh, you were on mute. That's what it was. Okay. Dr. Thompson is our medical director at Healthy Living with a Vision. And tonight, get ready for 4 consecutive weeks of ways to achieve your health goals.
Hey,
So
dear,
tonight,
I need
our
your
meeting is
help.
going to be from 7 p.m. to 8, and then we'll follow that up with some questions and answers and a lot of good little stuff in between. Tonight, you are in for a special, special treat.
Video.
You're going to hear from Dr. Farid Zarif, Dr. Z, and he's a nutritionist. He's going to be giving us a lot of good information. So get excited. And right about now, I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. Thompson.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm really glad you're here tonight because you've already done something good for your heart. You showed up. Most heart disease doesn't sneak up on us overnight, as Chanel has already mentioned. It's built quietly, bite by bite, habit by habit, and year by year. The good news is what's built slowly can also be unbuilt the same way. And that's exactly what this 28-day kickstart is about. So let's begin with a gentle reality check. No judgment, no guilt, no shame. Right now, without overthinking it, take a guess. On an average day, how many plant foods do you eat? Not servings, not portions, just plants. A banana counts, beans count, greens count, even if they're hiding under something less impressive. Is it three? Is it five? Is it eight? Pick a number and just hold on to it. Now, here's where we flip the script. Instead of starting with the question, what do I have to give up? Let's start with a better one. What do I already like? Your first assignment, starting tonight, is to create a list of 15 plant-based foods that you actually enjoy. Not foods you wish you liked, not foods you tried once 20 years ago. You'd be willing to invite back onto your plate. And I'll help out. I've shared a list of whole plant foods on my website, fearlessmd21.com. I've also included my own current list of fabulous 15. So you're welcome to shamelessly use my list for some sampling. This weekend, you'll use your list to go shopping. But here's the secret. Preparation beats willpower every time. Before you shop, ask yourself, how will I prepare this? Will I steam the greens? Will I bake or boil the potatoes? Will I add the beans to a salad or soup or a bowl? This isn't about gourmet cooking. It's about making the healthy choice the easy choice. Now, listen carefully. The goal is not perfection, the goal is progress. Over the next 3 weeks, we're aiming to increase your daily intake by just 1 to 2 additional plant foods per day each week. So, if you're currently eating 4 plant foods a day, by the end of this Kickstart cycle, the end of this series of Tuesday sessions, it will be at least 8. That's it. That small shift alone can improve blood vessel function, lower inflammation, support healthier cholesterol levels, and yes, it helps your heart love you back. Next week, I'll walk you through the next steps. So here's the philosophy that guides the entire Kickstart: subtraction by addition. We're not yanking foods away right now. We're crowding the plate with good food. When your plate is full of healthy food, there's simply less room for foods that don't love your heart back. We'll talk about reducing certain foods later, but tonight we build the foundation. I'll leave you with a line you've probably heard many times before, whether it's about nutrition, finances, relationships, or life. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But tonight, you have a plan. Remember, estimate your current plant intake, create your list of 15, shop intentionally this weekend, prepare simply, and add 1 to 2 plant foods per day starting this weekend or right away. That's how we start loving our hearts and living our best. I'm excited to do this with you, so let's get started. All right. So I am going to introduce our keynote speaker, who is Dr. Fareed Zarif, who I've known now for, I think, going on about 5 years. So let me tell you a little bit about this brilliant man. Dr. Zarif is a certified functional nutritionist with a doctoral degree in human nutrition. He's been an instructor at Western University School of Medicine at Pomona, California. He has been in a vast array of health services, including non-surgical weight loss and pre and post-operative weight loss surgery. He has managed hundreds of patients and groups in losing weight and keeping it off. He founded the Rhythm System slash Rhythmic Ingestion, a weight management and effective healthy meal plan based on human circadian rhythm. He has studied, researched, and authored several books and booklets. He has led support group meetings, empowering each client or group to improve the quality of their life, their health, and fitness through a variety of innovative meal plans and personal fitness programs. Dr. Zarif is also certified as a GCP, which stands for Good Clinic Practitioner, and certified cognitive behavioral therapist. He is also a group fitness trainer, and as a healthcare professional, he has worked with various medical teams, including endocrinology, gastroenterology, bariatric and oncology, and cardiology. If I go further, I'm going to be eating into his presentation time, but I do want a mission. I do want to say to you that he has invited me on to his 8 a.m. Saturday, actually it's 10 a.m. Central Time Saturday morning program, where he gives an hour of power of education about nutrition. Every third Saturday, he allows me to join him, and we interact on his show. Basically, this is a man for all seasons, and we are very grateful to have him on this platform today. Sometimes when I found it difficult to reach him, which is not often, he's out doing some kind of volunteer work, delivering food to seniors or volunteering other services along with his beautiful fiancee, Carolyn. So without any further ado, I'm very honored to introduce to you Dr. Fareed Zarif.
Thank you, everybody. I hear the claps. Thank you so much. It's good to be here, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started right away. One of the things that I want to do is I want you to take notes and listen intentionally, because I want you to remember these things as we go along, because we're going to be compiling a lot of education over these next 28 days. One of the things that we're going to talk about in the very first we're going to start with the cardiovascular system. We're going to start off with heart health. And that's what we have been talking about earlier, loving your heart and living your best. So let's have that discussion. To start off, I would like to get you in a study mode. So the things that you hear that may stand out, please write them down. I don't blame you for what you're going to feel because and you probably saying, well, what is he talking about? Many of us don't understand how tied we are to food, how addicted we are to food, and it's become like a religion. And I understand when people learn about certain things and form an opinion, and that opinion becomes their truth, and that truth becomes their reality. So if you feel that you're a little bit awkward in something that you hear, and you're like, no, 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 not that. That is something that naturally happens because this is what we've been doing every day of our life, eating a certain way. And unless you're on that trip to improve the way that you eat, such as the different eating lifestyles, just be ready for it. And I'll apologize ahead of time, but I don't think it'll be too bad. So, one of the things that we get out of studying is very important, and that's to improve your learning outcomes. Then you have enhance your problem solving skills. It also helps with the understanding of why we should settle down a little bit more about how what we accept and what we don't accept. You know, there used to be Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And now it isn't Pluto anymore. I think everybody knows that, right? We have 8 planets in the solar system now. And but remember that this was printed in millions and millions of books, universities all over the planet. And people fought, I'm vegan, I'm vegetarian, I'm lacto, I'm so forth. But we found out that now the new truth is that that doesn't exist because it did not fall into the description of a planet. So, with if you have some hard beliefs, know again, this is something that we really expect because over years that is it's easy to accumulate that type of objective of subjectivity. So let's move along with the other. I was mentioning the studying. That's so very important. It improves on your time management and reduce stress, and it gives you a lifelong learning. All of these things are important because if we don't make it important, then it doesn't make any sense or what makes or merits the change. Why would you want to change if there's no reason there to change? Your heart, when we start talking about the heart, is something that is a part of, or the cardiovascular system is a part of we have 11 systems in the human body. And one of them, we'll start off with the heart, but as we go along and learn more and more, you should learn all of those about yourself because this makes you more valuable. If you find yourself a person that's invaluable, you will do more things in order to answer to or to change the behavior that would be more suitable for a person that values themselves. In other words, avoid throwing anything down your throat. So, what is a heart? A heart is a very, very powerful, and it's like this fist about the size of your fist. It is a muscular organ and is located right just a little slightly left of the center of your chest. And there are 4 chambers in the heart. There's the right atrium, the right ventricle, the left atrium, along with the left ventricle. And left ventricle, by the way, is the strongest chamber. The purpose of the heart should be really understood. This is some of the things that the heart does. It delivers oxygen to every cell. It supplies nutrients, the glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins and minerals. All of this is a part of that strong heart that you have. Also, it removes waste products, and that's like carbon dioxide and metabolic toxins. Transports hormones and immune cells. It also maintains blood pressure and circulation, which is super important. We'll get into that later. Supports temperature regulation, and it also enables healing and immune defense. So here we go. This is just part. We don't have to you don't have to remember any of this. This is just what I'm describing about the heart. As you see, some of the art is just to give you an idea of a little bit of what we're talking about. But to go on, some of the things that the purpose of the heart, it removes waste products, it transports hormones, maintains blood pressure and circulation. It supports the temperature regulation and enables the healing and immune defense. This is very important because knowing how the heart works may again give it even more value, and that is why we should take care of it. How it works is that I'll do a simple flow. The oxygen poor blood, it actually enters the right side of the heart. The blood is sent into the lungs to pick up oxygen. The oxygen-rich blood returns to the left side of the heart. And then the left ventricle, it pumps blood into the entire body. This cycle repeats itself over 100,000 times per day. The heart, when we're talking about, again, I call it the smart heart because it actually has its own electrical system. And you've probably heard some people say that the body is electric along with other biochemical advances. It also communicates with the brain via the nerves and hormones. It responds to stress, sleep, lack of sleep, exercise, and emotions, and it also adjusts instantly to the body's needs. Here's how the electricity flows. Now, why the heart health matters? Why does it matter? A healthy heart actually ensures the strong circulation. It is efficient oxygen delivery, the energy production at the cellular level, the longevity and the quality of life. And when the heart is strained, keep in mind, if it's strained or if it's damaged, every organ system also suffers. So in taking care of your heart, it's just super important because it is connected with everything else in the entire body. In one sense, you can put all this together. The heart is a muscular pump that whose purpose is to keep every cell alive by delivering oxygen, nutrients, and life-supporting signals throughout the entire body. Now, the primary causes would be next in understanding what are the primary causes of the diseases of the heart. The very first thing on the top of the list is poor diet. That's the primary driver. So when we're talking about what we eat, when we're talking about what we drink, it does make a big difference in how the way that we feel and the way that we perform. So let's start off with poor diet. The diets that are high in ultra-processed foods. Now, ultra-processed foods, you can think of that if I had a potato and I baked it, that would be a processed food, the baked potato. But if I take a potato and then I make a potato chip, that is ultra processed food. So it can go from one end of the spectrum to the other, and ultra process is usually extreme, meaning that it's stripped of its texture, it can be stripped of its color, the nutrients in those foods, so on. Also, there is added sugars, and those sugars are like sucrose. Sucrose is the most common of just the common form of sugar, and it's derived from sugar cane and sugar beets. But glucose is a simple sugar that's primarily energy source primarily the energy source for the body. And yes, the human body can produce glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis. Now, this process primarily occurs in the liver and to a lesser extent in the kidneys. Gluconeogenesis converts the non-carbohydrate sources like amino acids and glycerol into glucose. You probably also heard it as blood sugar. The body also stores the glucose as glycogen in the liver and the muscles for later use. Now, during fasting or the intense exercise, glycogen is broken into and is released into the bloodstream as glucose. And this is also, again, you'll hear that sugar spikes, for instance, when we talk about especially people that are pre-diabetic and type 2 diabetes, has type 2 diabetes. There's also, as far as the driver, there's insulin and glucagon. They're both hormones that actually help regulate the blood glucose levels. Now, as far as the heart disease is the leading cause of death in men and women and people who of mostly racial or ethnic groups. Now, one person dies every 34 seconds for cardiovascular disease. And in 2023, 991,032 people actually died from cardiovascular disease. And that's the equivalent of 1 out of every 3 deaths. Then we have the heart disease that when it comes to money, heart disease costs about $417.9 billion. And this is on an annual basis. This includes the cost for healthcare services, medicines, and lost productivity due to death. Coronary heart disease is something that it's the most common type of heart disease. And it actually killed in 2022, 371,500 people. 371,000. That is unacceptable. We got to do better than that. Or what will happen is that we'll continue to die at the rate that we've been dying at, and we won't do any better. It's right now, heart disease is the leader of deaths by the different diseases of the heart. Heart attack is next. In the United States, someone has a heart attack every 40 seconds. Just think about that. How many people have had heart attacks since we started talking to you today? Every year, about 805,000 people in the United States have a heart attack. And of these, 605,000 are a first heart attack experience for those people. And 200,000 happen to people that have already had a heart attack. About 1 out of 5 heart attacks are silent, and the damage is called silent ischemia. And silent ischemia is when there's damage done to the heart, but you're not aware of it. And this really happens very, very, this happens mostly in Black men. Now, I want to go over just this right fast so that you'll have an idea of some of the foods that are they're detrimental to our health. So we'll start off with some of the things that like, for instance, the sugar. We just talked about that briefly, but fructose, lactose, maltose, dextrose, you can hear the os, and that usually means that those are sugar. Whether or not they're quote unquote natural sugars, they're still in the category of sugar. Also, what can really cause big problems in our body and a detriment to the heart would be chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation triggers processed foods, excess body fat, chronic stress, poor sleep, and smoking. So all of those things, this is something that we can overcome by making better choices, especially when it comes to processed or refined foods. Inactivity is something else. Another thing, the physical activity or physical inactivity is just like if we were talking about sarcopenia, for instance, which is some people just simply call the old person disease because people aren't moving enough. A sedentary lifestyle can definitely trigger a lot of the uh, soft bones or tissue, osteoporosis, many types of inflammation, reducing blood vessel flexibility, worsens the blood pressure and the insulin sensitivity, and movements that are essential to vascular health. And that's like your arterioles, your capillaries, your arteries, all of those things that we can't see, but the things that we use on a daily basis. I'm going to go through a couple of more things, and then we can stop for questions as we continue on. The heart is something that I wanted to start with because it's definitely the body will not work without the heart. And when you cause problems or there are problems in your other parts of your stomach, or it can be in any of your organs, then that also affects the heart too, including high blood pressure and atherosclerosis, so on and so on. The excess body fat. Now, you've probably heard about, especially visceral fat, that the abdominal fat is metabolically active and it releases inflammatory chemicals. And these inflammatory chemicals, they actually cause the blood to raise. They raise blood pressure. They increase your LDL cholesterol, and they also promote insulin resistance. And then high blood pressure. When it comes to your high blood pressure, one of the things is a constant high blood pressure damages arteries, making them stiff and narrow, forcing the heart to work harder and increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke. So these are just some of the things that you to stay aware of as far as the functioning of the heart and some of the things that you can do to avoid sickness in the heart. Continuing on, what some of the most effective heart health foods. Now we get into the easy part, and that is that the leafy green vegetables such as kale and spinach and collard greens, arugula, all of those are great because they're rich in nitrates. Nitrates help to improve blood vessel function. Also high in the antioxidants, magnesium and potassium, and they're lower. They actually help to lower your blood pressure and arterial stiffness. Then you have berries. Berries, for instance, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, they're high in polyphenols and anthocyanins. They reduce inflammation. And you heard me say that about the other cruciferous foods, that the reduction of inflammation is very important because especially as you get older, your joints, arthritis, you might have fibromyalgia or different diseases or difficulties like that can definitely be, you can reverse those things by making better choices in the foods that you eat. One of my favorites is legumes. Now, legumes are excellent. These are your beans and your lentils and your peas. And when we're talking about that, we're talking about the foods that can definitely help you with the regulation of bowel movement, for instance. Why? Because they're high soluble fibers and they lower the LDL cholesterol. They also improve your blood sugar control and they reduce heart disease risk significantly. So that's super. We want to definitely add that to our shopping list. Another one would be whole grains. Whole grains are like your oats, your quinoa, your barley, your brown rice, and they all contain the beta glucan fiber, and that's especially found like in oats and in barley. They also reduce the cholesterol and improve insulin sensitivity. So these, along with nuts and seeds and some of the fatty plant sources of omega 3s, and you find that in ground flax seeds, chia, and walnuts, and some of the EFAs, the essential fatty acids. This is just a whole new way to shop for the purpose of what that food can do, the benefits that you can get from that food to help reduce some of your triglycerides, support your endothelial health, and to lower your inflammation. So I'll stop it right there. And if we have any questions, we'll be glad to entertain it.
Yes, doctor, I have a question. My name is Raymond Funderburk. As you can see, Alpha Phi Alpha. Dr. Thompson is one of my brothers, of course. The question that I have relates to what's called an athletic heart. And I don't know if there is such a thing as an athletic heart or not. But I have a cardiologist, actually two cardiologists, one who calls himself an electrician, the other cardiologist calls himself a plumber. I visited with my plumber cardiologist, and he had me to wear a heart monitor. I wore the heart monitor for approximately 3 days. I came back to him, and he pulled up the graph and showed me the number of beats per minute that my heart was beating. And he told me that at night, during sleep, that my heart slows down to 20 to 30 beats per minute.
Wow.
Now, let me go back and preface that by saying that over the years, I've been somewhat athletic. I used to run road races and be somewhat athletic. So I don't know if that had an impact on the number of beats. But anyway, the doctor said that 20 to 30 beats per minute is too slow, that your brain needs more blood than can be distributed with 20 to 30 beats per minute. He also told me that I was an excellent candidate for a pacemaker. So at that point in time, he referred me to an electrician cardiologist. The electrician cardiologist did his evaluation and said, yes, I'm going to have you have a pacemaker installed or implanted. So I had the pacemaker implanted. So the question is there such a thing as an athletic heart? And if so, is that negative or positive, good or bad?
Well, thank you for the question, and I understand exactly what you mean. Some people that are athletic, that run long distances or track and field, they can develop a larger heart, which means that they're getting more blood per stroke. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the heart is bad. Sometimes the heart is enlarged because of the work that is done by the athlete. As far as the electrician, I would think that that would probably be the first thing or the primary thing that he would be thinking about, because that's, how he was trained, and he probably is going from that perspective of surgery before doing, maybe more holistic things.
Yes, and I'll add to that too. An athletic heart is actually it's an adaptation of the heart, because one dimension of that is the heart becomes more effective at pumping blood, and so through that adaptation, sometimes the heart muscle thickens. And so an echocardiogram, which is an ultrasound of the heart, may sometimes show in an elite athlete or very vigorously training athlete, it may show a little thickened muscle that if it weren't for them being an athlete, you might think there's something really wrong. But the fact that they are an athlete actually neutralizes the concern. And interestingly, as you already mentioned, your heart rate can go down. Now, in the 30s would be alarming, I think, to any cardiologist, because some of the most elite athletes do often have beats over 30 beats per minute. So you'd want to make sure there are not additional issues going on.
All right.
But generally, the normal heart rate is 60, it's called, 60 to 80 or 90. But so it can, in elite athletes, it can go down to the 50s or even 40s and be normal for that person. The heart's just beating more efficient. But it always raises some interest in making sure there are not other things going on. And so it's always important to get checked out by the cardiologist. And I will say, don't consider anything we say here as medical advice because that's not what this platform is for, but we will provide general information.
Thank you,
I know
doctor.
we have, oh, no problem. Thanks. Good seeing you. I know we have some questions in the chat. I know there's a hand raised. There may be more.
Thank you, and I'll be brief. Keith Jackson, Southern Cal. Uh, JT's roommate at University of Illinois in A5A, since we're shouting him out. My question is relative to supplementation. How important is supplementation to heart health and general well-being? Things like magnesium or coenzyme Q10, fish oil, or etc.
But some people I think you find it more subjective because some people, quote unquote, believe in
Yeah.
taking, and then you have those that, that won't have anything to do with supplements because they just simply say they don't work. But they'll say that they get theirs from their food. I think that myself, I like supplements. I take supplements for, and also, herbs. I find that they're very effective in my body. But some people may feel like they don't get any type of, reaction, and it's a big waste of time. So I would say that's one of the things you do your own homework and find out how it works for you. But I wouldn't say that it's a standard.
Very quick follow-up. In light of the quality of our food supply these days, is it really possible to get everything that you really need from your diet?
And I would just say a real quick no on that one because it's just so, like I was saying, talking about earlier, the ultra processed foods. Food is a whole nother, it's not like off the farm and into the kitchen and the cupboard and all of those things. They make us feel like maybe a little cuddly and we just like, ooh, home. But the chickens are in factories. The kill room is like a huge auto shop where they're putting cars together. It's a whole different world. But it also is huge when it comes to the money that they make because of it. And that's why we were just talking about the upside down pyramid and how that has changed somewhat. There's those changes in it, but the thing that's on top now is meat. And that is something, whether you eat it or not, we know that if we overdo it, we can be susceptible to certain diseases.
Thanks for the answer. I really appreciate it. And I agree with you 1,000%, especially since they're third world countries who won't take our food, our genetically modified food, etc.
That's true.
Thank you.
All right. So now we're going to go over to Shaquita.
Thank you so much. First, I want to say thank you, Doctor, for this great information and this great session. I just wanted to know, I've done like research around just exercise overall, and I've gotten like a lot of like information between like cardio and strength training as it pertains to belly fat, burning fat, fat loss, and etc. And I've heard that most fitness experts talk about that strength training is more effective in like fat loss and weight loss overall. And then I also hear like cardiovascular is kind of like cause the body to go into plateau. So I just want to know like what's your take on like cardio versus strength training, if there's like a one over the other, or is it all just like any movement is considered medicine?
Okay, I think that first of all, great. It's good that you're studying because when you learn more about you, you find that you can appreciate you more, right? One of the things that I think that that's important to know that your genetics are more important than usually the information that you get is going to say burning fat, is going to say not eating for a while, or a certain type of fasting and all that. But you'll find that your the choice of eating and even exercise sometimes doesn't get you the body that you're looking for. And that's because that there's genetics is so genetically speaking, there's your body is only going to do what it genetically can do. The way that you're built from your family. It doesn't mean that you got to be like, for instance, if Aunt QC is heavy set and Aunt Bernice is, that you have to be also. But it just simply means that there is a potential there. So you might have to work out a little longer to get cuts in your abs, to get a six pack, or you might have to work out a little more and do a variety of exercise in order for you to get what you want to get. But yeah, a lot of times the things, the way that we learn burning fat, like these cherries burn fat, is no such thing. You don't have food that burn fat, as they say, but working out and eating what certain things that you eat, when you eat them, and how you prepare them are super important.
All right,
Thank you,
And
so
doctor.
let me add
Thank
to that too, Shaquita. I think, and I think Dr. Z kind of hit on this. Really, doing both is important. I mean, you get certain kind of influence from doing cardio, which there is a little more burning regard to calories, depending on the level, the duration, the intensity. There are all these little factors, but cardio is one thing, whether it's cycling, running fast, jogging, and everyone should do that. But also, there should be strength training where you do bands or weights because that's better for your bones and joints. You actually influence more calcium deposition into your bone with the strength training. And so some people do like strength training twice a week, like three, 4 or 5 times a week. But it is good to do both. There's a third kind that some people are very popular. That's the interval training or HIIT, high interval training, where you kind of do a more on off, fast pace, slower pace. But really mixing it up is good, but everyone should be doing some degree of strength training as well as some cardio. If you can't walk, if you can't run, then walk. And if your joints bother you on concrete, try to walk on more padded surfaces or a cycle. There are different things you can do, but I think it's not either or. You should try to do both.
okay.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
All right, and then the question here says, can you share any information on atrial fibrillation and supraventricular tachycardia?
I'll say the best thing to do with that's not my scope, but there's if Dr. James wanted, that would be to a cardiologist would be best to get that information from.
Yeah, let's make a note of that, Chanel, because we are having a board certified cardiologist come on the third Tuesday. So
Okay.
whoever posed that question, make sure you come back on February 3rd when Dr. Donish Atwell will be joining us, and she's a board certified cardiologist. It's not necessarily in my wheelhouse either on that question. Thanks.
Okay. The next one says nitrates in greens are good for you, but nitrates in lunch or deli meats are bad. Why?
Well, first of all, even if if there weren't not any nitrates or nitrites in wieners and sausage and all of that, it would still be a real the choice of that particular meat, especially lunch meat. This is the kind of meat, the portion of meat that doesn't go through any testing whatsoever. There's meat that is used for salami or bologna and wieners and sausage and all of that. Just like you probably heard USDA choice. That's when you see that on steak. That's when you see that on certain cuts of the meat. But instead of them throwing away the meat that they don't use in a cut, those are put all together in a batch to make certain things like sausage and like the lunch meats and so forth. So lunch meat from my perspective isn't a good choice at all. This is something that doesn't have any nutrients in it, and it could be probably the worst part of that steer or the animal that they took it from.
All right. The next question is, what is the best test to determine the health of the heart? Is heart health related to genetics?
Yeah, as far as I think there are some diseases that people do pass on in their gene pool, but again, it doesn't have to be your destiny. If you know, this is why it's so important to get exams and to have a recording of your family history so that your family doctor or your medical team can know your situation. Like what you have in your family, what you can eat, what you're allergic to, how much medication you've taken, and all of those things. One of the biggest things that we do as a mistake is we wait too late. We always wait after the fact.
Right.
And that is in females and males or men and women. It's very important that we are proactive and we go and get checked out first instead of waiting until you feel some pain that you're at the mercy of anybody that says, here, I can help you. So that's very important. And I almost forgot what I was asked after.
Well, you know what? Let me say this to everyone. Because we have so many Q&A and questions that people are asking, we're going to be hosting a 1 hour Zoom Q&A session every Sunday following our Tuesday session. So then that way we can spend the core of that time answering these questions. So if there are like several questions that we still have to get to. If we are not able to get to them, we will answer them in our Q&A on Sunday. So write that down. I'm fixing the Zoom together and I'll get that out to everyone. But at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our CEO, Dr. Ansel Johnson.
Good evening,
Yeah.
everyone. Good evening. I'm not going to take much time, but I just did want to take the privilege to step on and welcome everybody. It's a blessing to see everyone's face, and that the fact that you are on means that you want to take control of your health. But just for housekeeping purposes, my name's Dr. Ansel Johnson. I'm an optometrist, so I have some biases because in the eye, we can look at all the blood vessels in the back of the eye without cutting or blood work and have a really good idea of the overall health. But what I did want to talk about is just if you like this, please donate. We need everybody's support. On our website, you can become a donor, and I would encourage everyone to be a monthly donor. I don't know if it's $5 a month, $10 a month, $100 a month. So we can keep this up. We will be providing the full recording down the road, and that does cost. So we do have overheads in setting all this up. I want to give a lot of thanks to a number of people. And I also want to recognize our partners, our community partner, the Chicago Urban League, which has allowed us to join in, or which is joining with us actually, and to help us get the word out about this. So much thanks to Kameda Coleman, who is on the line and listening in with us right now. But I did want to recognize the Chicago Urban League for being our partners with this. And so again, check out our website. You'll actually see some recordings, some snippets from our past plant-based seminars from last year. So there's a couple up there that actually have some recipes, but I'm going to get off. We have a few more questions. We have couple more minutes, but thank everyone and be blessed.
And then a couple of other things we wanted to make sure you all know. Again, we're going to be doing this for 3 more consecutive Tuesdays. Next week, we'll have Phyllis Leon, a nutritional health coach, and Deeptha Deshma, a dietitian. February 3rd, as Dr. Thompson stated, Dr. Danish Atwal, a board certified cardiologist, will be speaking. And then on February 10th, to take us home, Dr. James Thompson is an allergist and immunologist. Is going to tell us all the things we need to know about the allergy and immunology of the program. We have a event coming up this Friday. Meet the Scientist. Healthy Living with a Vision is going to be at the Field Museum. We're going to be there that's Friday, January the 23rd, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., talking about fearless longevity zones. Please come on out and join us. We're going to have a really, really good time breaking down the word fearless. And fearless goes along with Dr. Thompson's book, and that would be a Fearless Wellness. And your website again is fearlessmd21.com. So those are the things that we have upcoming. So please, please, I'll make sure that the link is going to be sent out too for Sunday. It's going to be this Sunday, and then every consecutive Sunday after the Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time.
So, well, one thing I wanted to go back to was that Dr. Danish Atwal is online today in the Zoom, and she actually offered to answer that question about the atrial fibrillation and the supraventricular. So maybe if she raises her hand, we can see it and we can get to her about that. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that the book Fearless Wellness that's on Amazon, all proceeds from this program and through the next month will be going to our charitable foundation, to Healthy Living with a Vision Foundation. So it will be considered a donation if you buy the book Fearless Wellness on Amazon. And I see her hand raised. Okay. So please come on, Dr. Atwal.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
So I wanted to just also touch base about the question that was asked earlier about the low heart rate when sleeping. And I'm not sure who asked that question, but about the athletic heart, I just wanted to add on to that sometimes when we're sleeping, heart rate dripping down to 20, 30 could be a sign of sleep apnea. And that is something that needs to be addressed and checked, which can then cause low heart rate during the daytime as well. It could be athletic heart, but it could also be sleep apnea. And sleep apnea is a silent killer because it causes strokes, heart attacks, very high blood pressure when we're sleeping. So that's something that should be checked. And the second question was about the AFib and the supraventricular tachycardia. So those are arrhythmia. So those are electrical problems. And that usually can be triggered by many reasons. Again, sleep apnea is one of them. So people who have undiagnosed, untreated sleep apnea gets all sorts of electrical problems. So anytime any patient comes to me with any sort of an electrical problem, first thing I do is get a sleep apnea test done. And most of my patients tell me they don't have it, but it is not until it's proven via testing that we know if they have it or not. So again, as it was mentioned earlier by Dr. Thompson, this is not a medical advice, but this is just a suggestion, is that anytime we're looking for arrhythmia problems, electrical problems, concern is always sleep apnea because it is pretty prevalent in our population. And yes, we do have that, a figure of a person who matches the description for sleep apnea, but I have some patients who do not fit the description, but they do have pretty severe sleep apnea. So those are the things, but electrical problems, AFib, SVT, not a life-threatening problem, but it certainly can be a nuisance. And I read the chat, it said the patient that you are on diltiazem, so that's a good treatment for it. But it's usually triggered by some reason, and those reasons needs to be investigated.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Atwal.
Thank you.
You'll be hearing more from her in 2 weeks. She will be our featured speaker on our third session. So make sure you all do not miss that.
One of the things I wanted to add with the things that we've been sharing today, there's 4 things to remember to get, start now, because we're talking about things that we don't want you to put on the shelf. We want you to move right into it. The very first thing, of course, is nutrition. The certain kinds of food that you eat is super important. It's not like something that you want to put to the side. We want you to move on that right away. And that can be something as small as just adding more color to your plate. Just like on Mr. Waters, his background, that's a purpose. If you see on the screen in the back, that's a perfect example of what you can add to your meals. Instead of having an all brown plate, let's put some color in there, some orange and red and yellow and green, so forth. The other thing, number two, is exercise. Even if you're an older person and you can't do some of the things you did while you were younger, do what you can do. Everything that you're doing requires energy, and energy, that's what a calorie is. It's a unit of heat and or energy. So just you can use that energy to move, but just don't become a person that doesn't do anything. Number three is getting sleep, deep sleep. Don't stay up real late or have your a big TV in your bedroom and you just look at it until you go to sleep. Sleeping is very important, especially when it comes to how your body heals itself. That's a very big part of it. And lastly, make sure that you're in a community or environment where you're in a loving environment. If you are alone, make sure that you get into programs where you can go and see other people, shake hands, sing songs. If you don't have a family that do that already, all of that is very important for the balance of your life, the balance of your joy. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. I do have this question it's for you, Dr. Z, and you, Dr. Thompson. And it says, what do you eat in a day, Dr. Z? And Dr. Thompson, what do you eat in a day?
You want to go first, Dr. J?
I can, sure.
Okay.
So almost every day I eat oatmeal. I love oatmeal, and oatmeal loves you back. It has that beta glucan Dr. Zerby was talking about. So it has some fiber, it has some minerals, it has some iron, and I use plant milk with it. I put a little either soy milk or almond milk in with it. I throw blueberries in there and bananas and whatever other fruit I might want to put in there. I throw some cinnamon in there too. I sometimes sprinkle a tablespoon of some wheat germ, but it's a powerhouse oatmeal bowl every morning. I don't often I don't structurally eat lunch, but when I do, it's usually some fruit. So I'll usually eat some fruit, or I might eat it might have some celery and some almond butter without any added salt or palm oil or any of that. So usually like I try not to. I've been trying to make that second meal my heaviest meal because Dr. Zarif will tell you that in the rhythm of things, it's better not to have the heavy meal at night. And with me having a history of reflux and hiatal hernia, I don't need to be eating a whole lot of food for my dinner. But generally, I make sure for dinner I eat it at or before 6 p.m. And it's usually a big salad. It's usually a big salad. None of these involve meat. I am a vegan. And vegan is a way of living. It's a social justice movement, but I'm a healthy vegan and I eat whole food, plant-based. So with salad, you can have a diverse salad. A lot of people think it's just boring lettuce with salad. I'll have three different greens in there, some arugula, some cauliflower, some kale. I'll throw in sometimes a little scoop of sauerkraut. That's a fermented product, and I'll throw whatever berries in there. Sometimes some wild berries, blackberries. I'll crunch up a handful of walnuts. But I have a big salad for dinner, and sometimes some pasta, some whole grain pasta, maybe whole grain pasta and beans. I try to have beans of some form for lunch or for dinner every day. I already said for lunch it's usually light, but sometimes when I don't go light, it's some form of beans, whether black beans, chickpeas, none of them with any fat back in there. Usually it's just all plants and herbs and spices. But that's generally it. I know I eat a much more variety of food than when I was eating meat, egg, and dairy years ago because there are 20,000 plants out there you can choose from. But I'll let you go, Dr. Zarif.
Oh, I was having fun listening to you. That was great, man. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, I have a book. It's called I'm Not Vegan, but I Eat Like One. And this, you can get this on drzarif.com. When it comes to eating, there's three things you can remember that you can change the way that you eat now for the better. One is to start off in the morning with a small meal, and regardless of what you're doing, is because later on, I don't want to go into a deeper thing on this, but it's just making sure that you have for your meal your fruit in the morning, fresh water in the morning. That's very important. Now, some people will have other things, different millet, or they might have steel cut oats and so forth. But remember, have that with your blackberries, your blueberries, your strawberries, bananas, all of those. The fruit is excellent to start in the morning. You're getting just enough fructose. You also, it's very light, and it has a higher water content than the other groups of food. Then you have like your largest meal, you want to put it in the middle of your day. The middle of your day is 6 hours after you wake up. That's at lunchtime, where you eat in lunch. If you change that around and you ate your largest meal in the middle of the day instead of waiting to the end of the day and eating all of that food and going to bed with all of that food, look, tomorrow morning, if you and I were talking in the morning, you would tell me that you felt different because you didn't take all of that food to bed with you. So at the end of the night, which is 6 hours from your largest meal, you eat the smallest meal, because this is the time that your body is prepared to sleep. It doesn't make sense to eat this huge meal and you're going to bed. Okay, so those three things, there's much more to it, but those three things, if you really want to change and you're really serious about getting some kind of effective way, of something that you can feel, this is what you do. Again, in the morning, fruit and water, and then in the afternoon, around the middle of your day. And the reason I'm not saying at 12 o'clock, because everybody gets up at a different time. Most people get up at 6, so I'm using that. So 6 a.m. water and fruit. At 12 p.m. your largest meal, and then at just before you go to bed, between 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. this is where you eat your smallest meal.
Dr. Zarif, can you share your website?
Oh yes, drzarif.com. DRZARIF, like in Frank.
Okay, thank you very
.com.
much.
You're welcome.
Okay. And then again, this Sunday, we're going to have a special 1 hour Zoom Q&A to answer majority of the questions that you may have. So please come back. It's going to be Sunday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Creating the Zoom link, and we're going to make sure that we send that out in the morning. You'll get it. So please sign up and come back.
Again, I want to thank everybody for being a part of this, but I also want to, again, thank the Chicago Urban League. Ms. Coleman, thank you for your support. But I also want to recognize some of our members of our board of directors that are on the call right now. Chanel Brandon is our board vice president. And of course, Dr. Thompson's our medical director and program director. Dr. Kimberly Battle Miller, who's on, Deborah Hurston's on, LaShawn James, who's on, Allison Debonet, who's on, and Deidre Hines that are on. And again, I'm going to take the time to remind everybody about our event at the Field Museum of Chicago this Friday from 11 to 2 p.m.
I don't have much to say other than to thank Dr. Zarif for a wonderful presentation. I know that most of the speakers, if not all, were on tonight, and we're going to have a very, very well worked out program for next week with Phyllis Leon and with Deepa Deshmukh. I think both of them are on the Zoom. So I welcome them. I'm glad they were able to make it. And we are looking forward to next week to really get down to the brass tacks of what a health coach can do and what a dietitian can do to enhance your health. So don't miss next Tuesday. And Chanel, thank you for doing such a wonderful job in hosting
Oh,
and
no
I
problem.
will
You know, I love
stop
working with
there.
my family.
I really appreciate everybody coming out. This is a thing that I would say, if this was the last thing that I would say to you, would be act now. If you haven't had an examination, see your doctor. Don't guess and don't be your own little doctor. You got time to do that, but you want to be professionally examined to make sure that your numbers are correct. You don't want to walk around with all of these, being asymptomatic, not being able to feel these things. Remember, if you can't feel them, they can do damage to you and you don't even know. So you're not helping yourself if you don't go and get an examination. If you're afraid of needles, let the doctor know that. There may be a technique. Don't guess it all out and, like I'm not, and talk yourself out of it. Lastly, remember that technology is continuing to shape itself. It's getting better and better. So a lot of techniques that you may have been afraid of years ago may not even exist now because they have the less pain, or so there's less fright with it. So go out, make it your habit to check out yourself at least once a year so that you know exactly what's happening with you and take the steps to change it. Thanks.
Okay. Dr. Z, we appreciate you. This was a wonderful discussion, and I hope each and every one of you guys got something out of this. Make that doctor's appointment. Do not eat at night, eat in the morning, and check. It all starts today, so act now. All right, so I'll be sending that Zoom link out to you guys, and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday from 4 to 5 p.m. and then back on next Tuesday. I hope y'all have a great evening from Healthy Living with a Vision. Take care.